Are we live? How come it's trying to go live? It's being funny. There we go. We are live. Hello, hello. Okay, you guys, as you are jumping on and watching this, if you're watching the replay, comment replay. Also, remember we are using StreamYard today. I'm super excited to introduce you guys to Mikala, and make sure that you give permission to StreamYard. So if you tap on the live, if you're watching on your phone or the computer, the title of the live has a little blurb that says to grant permission for StreamYard to show your name. So make sure that you grant permission so we can see when you comment. If not, it just says Facebook user. We'll see your comments, but we won't be able to see who is commenting. And I know Mikala wants to be able to interact and engage with you and talk with you guys. So I'm going to quickly just share our live here into our event, because we do have an event started, and I'm going to give you guys a little intro to Mikala as we get our friends jumping on here. I'm super excited to do this. We talked about this. It's been a couple of weeks now, and I'm so excited to be able to bring this here. Hi, Catherine. Welcome, welcome. I see somebody say, hi, ladies. Make sure you grant permission so we can see your name, because you're just Facebook user to us. So.
And I can't see. Can you click? Do I click on comments to see?
You should be able to see. Do you not see my the whole back?
I see it now. I was on something different. I see.
Okay, good. You see him. Okay, good. I was like, wait, no, you should. I thought we tested.
I do. I see Catherine. I see Rebecca. I see Crystal. Welcome.
Hello, hello, friends. So let me just get this quickly made sure we share and everybody knows that we're live. And I'm going to give you this intro here. I'm going to drop this live link here too to some of the places people have commented for today. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Rebecca. Hello, Catherine. I'm so excited to have you guys on tonight. I'm sorry, my Karen still didn't show up. I had this sinking feeling that it was going to be the case, that today of all days, Facebook was going to, not Facebook, FedEx, just as equally confusing and frustrating, right? Laura, I'm so glad you're here. This is going to be so great for you. If you have to jump off and on, make sure you come back and check out the replay, because Mikala is amazing, and she's going to share some really amazing tangible things for us to use. I know, Michelle, isn't that funny? Karen being a Karen. I was like, I was all about the Karen, and I was like, I think Karen, this jumpsuit is going to change the name Karen forever for me. I'm going to love it. And then today I'm like, Karen, being a Karen. I apologize to any of our Karens here. You know, we love you. Okay, so I just want to jump in first and introduce you to Mikala. You guys might recognize her beautiful face because she has been in a lot of LuLaRoe photo shoots. She lives local here in Southern California, and so therefore they get to use her beautiful face in a lot of the photo shoots. And so that's where you might recognize Mikala from, but I want to give you kind of just a little bit of a background on her. So she's going to tell her story, but I just kind of want to introduce her and do her justice, because sometimes it feels weird to like toot your own horn and you leave things out, right?
Absolutely.
So Mikala has a master's degree in education. You studied history and
ethnic studies
and history. Hi, Christina. Hello. Make sure you guys invite friends to this as well. And also, I'm just going to let you know, we're streaming to 4 different places. We're streaming to our business page, our VIP group. I also invited my team here for this today because it's going to be amazing and very tangible. And also we're streaming to YouTube. So there's lots of places. If you're missing comments, it's not because you aren't seeing comments. You might just be, there might be people joining from different places in that. But most important is Mikala gets to see your comments so that she can help answer and interact. So
hello.
Anyways, Mikala I met her through LuLaRoe, obviously. She's had an amazing journey in life. She was a single mom at, let me read you her little bio. I'll read it to you. I was going to summarize, but from teen mom to creating new statistics, Mikala Brown has set numerous out of the expected box goals and created her own life career success. From purchasing her first home as a single mom at the age of 25 in California, no doubt, like that's amazing, to receiving her master's degree in special education at the age of 28, to building a six-figure at-home business while teaching in the public school system and raising 3 children. She's on fire and ready to continue, as she puts it. Live the new statistic daily. She's breaking barriers and ready to improve. That's just a little intro to Mikala. Not all the details. She's amazing, you guys. She helped write the California State High School Exit Exam up in Sacramento, California, and has the highest rate of students that passed the state exam, right?
Yes.
Of any, and that's probably why they were like, hey, who is this amazing woman and how can she help us? She also does all kinds of support for educators. And she's just as phenomenal. The more and more I've gotten to know her, I just love her. She's got a super cute son. The Atlas is like, they're best buddies as boys can be, you know, like they play together and it's always somebody's fighting and crying and then they love each other in a minute, you know? And we've gotten to know her husband as well, which has been amazing. Right, Crystal? Already in awe because she is really phenomenal. So I'm going to be here, but I'm going to jump off the screen because I want her to be able to teach you guys and share with you all the things that she has to share. So with that, I'm going to jump off.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, you guys. I am so excited to be here. I am currently in my daughter's room. I do have an office, but it's kind of being used right now. So I'm in my daughter's room for now. All right, you guys. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and I'm going to tell you why I'm here and all the good things. All right. So my name is Mikala Brown. I'm from Southern California. I had my first baby at the age of 18. And when that happened, my mother told me that I was nothing but a statistic, which really hurt my feelings. And I think I carried that on my back for a very, very long time until just recently. So I am 39 years old now. So I have 3 children. I have a 5-year-old. I had to think, you guys. I have a 5-year-old, I have a 13-year-old, and I have a 20-year-old. And I have been through so much with my children. I've been married for about 8 years now, and living married life is very different than living single life. Sometimes I say that single life is easier than being married, but that's a whole nother situation. Hi, Susan. Hi, everyone, as you jump on. So one thing that I've had to learn, I'm a consultant. I have a boutique. I'm a teacher. I teach special education. I've been a leader in lots of different areas. But one thing that I was lacking was understanding just kind of where I sat in life. Like, I know that I'm here. I know that I'm successful. I know I can do all these things, but why am I confused every single day, right? Every single day. So basically, I am a life coach and I focus on women rise up, understanding your purpose, understanding where you should be, understanding your small goals, your big goals, and how you're actually going to meet them. And the reason why I decided to become a life coach, I was actually running a boutique and I just wanted to make more money. I was like, money, money, money. I want to make more money. I guess being a teacher and being married and doing all the things like didn't sit well with me. And I went to a retreat and and if you guys have questions, please type the questions. And if you guys want to take notes as well. And if you want to contact me, you can see the mikalabrown.com. You can always schedule a 15-minute call with me. So there we go. So that's one first thing. So, I went to this retreat and I thought it was a business retreat. And I was like, yes, I'm going to come here. I'm going to double my sales. This is going to be fantastic and all the things. And I left like not knowing, I went thinking that's what I needed. And I left being surrounded by successful businesswomen thinking it's not the success that I'm missing because clearly I'm successful, but I really need to understand Mikala. I didn't know myself. I was always going for goals that were expected. My mother's an educator. My father's an educator. My mom lied to me when I was a little girl and told me that everyone goes to college and that's just how it is. My mother's very Baptist Christian. I grew up in a Christian household. So you go to church, you go to school, you do all these things. But I really messed up once I became pregnant and I kind of lost myself and didn't understand. So as I'm going to these retreats and as I'm going to all these professional development things and all these things, everyone's like, wow, you're so powerful. And I'm like, I didn't understand what that meant. I was like, okay, like I'm seriously just trying to survive. So basically, I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and where I come from. So I come from a little city called Riverside, California. It's in Southern California, in the Inland Empire. I had my first baby when I was 18 years old, and basically, I went from moving out of my mom's house when I was 18 years old to living in literally going from living in apartments to cars to hotels back to apartments, all while I'm employed. So I full on had a job. I full on was a substitute teacher. I was a waitress. And I just knew that wasn't the life for me. I was in relationships that were hit and miss, like really bad relationships, because that's what I thought that I deserved. Fast forward to I got in this really bad altercation, and it made me realize, like, this is not the life I want to live. I don't want to live like this, and what can I do about it? So I decided to move away. I moved to Sacramento for a year, then I came back, and I decided to say, you know what, I'm going to be a teacher, and in 1 year, I'm going to own a house. I was 24. And my mom was like, oh, that's silly. That's not really realistic. You know, at that point in time, I was a single mom of 2 kids. To make a super long story short, every single goal that I've ever set in life, I was able to reach it, right? I was like, oh, I got that. Okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? As I progressed in life, I really lost myself. I just became a goal setter. And there's nothing wrong with being a goal setter. But because I was doing it for all the wrong reasons, I was successful on paper, but I wasn't successful in my heart. Can anybody relate to that? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? So it's one thing to be successful on paper, to get all these awards. I got a master's degree. I own my own house. I'm doing all these things. I'm a single mom, but I didn't feel complete, right? I always felt like I was running after the wrong game. Like I was playing the wrong game in my life, right? Okay, so I live by a couple things. So today we're going to talk about the reason that I'm a life coach is because I feel like every woman needs to understand their purpose in life. Every single woman needs to understand what you're here for. And you need to understand that you get to create whatever you want to create. If you just want to be successful, you can be successful, and that looks different for everyone. If you want to be rich, you can be rich. If you want to be famous, you can be famous, and those are not the same exact things, right? If you want to give back, you get to give back, but what all comes down to, if you're not happy in your heart and you really don't know who you are, then you're not going to be successful at all. Like, it's just not going to work. It doesn't really matter. So I found that the biggest piece missing in me was understanding my self-worth. It was understanding how to schedule myself within my schedule. I'm really good at writing things down. Like look at this. I'm actually at my daughter's thing, but why do we collect notebooks to write in? And we do all this good writing. And then it just kind of sits there, right? So I was good at scheduling, but I wasn't good at scheduling myself into my schedule. So I needed to figure out my self-worth. All right. I needed to figure out how to schedule myself into my schedule. And I needed to understand the power of affirmations. So those are the 3 things that I focus on in my coaching. And we're going to talk about, I do retreats, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later as well. So you're right. Huge pen and paper girls, like, you got to write it down. You got to write it down. But what I was missing from that, Amber, right, and Rebecca, what I was missing was, if I fell off track, I really didn't know how to get back on track and stay there. So we're going to talk about a little bit about scheduling as well. So a couple of things that I tell myself every single day. Number 1 is, and I wrote this down just so I don't forget, is you don't have to live, that you've already lived your worst day. You've already survived your worst day. So what are we afraid of? What are we afraid of living for? What are we afraid of what's going to happen tomorrow or the next day? Think about the worst situation you've ever been in. You've already survived. It's like, I'm a survivor. Like, seriously, you're already a survivor. Think about like the absolute worst situations, right? I put myself in a lot of situations because you get to decide on a lot of things, right? I am not a writer and scheduler. Okay. That's good too. We're gonna talk about that too. But I always tell myself, like, when I get in a bind, like today, I'm human, right? I have kids. My kids drive me absolutely crazy sometimes. Like, that's real. I have a husband. He drives me even more crazier than my children do sometimes. But really understanding that I'm alive today and I've already survived my worst day, right? So when I get in a really bad situation, or I'm sitting in a situation where I'm just like, gosh, am I going to survive? Am I going to make it? Can I do this? Absolutely, you can do it, because you're already a survivor. You've already survived your worst day. So when I get in a bind, I tell myself that. So write that down. Another thing is that while we talk about surviving, it's you don't have to live in survival mode. How many of us have ever lived in survival mode, or you're living in survival mode now? Some of you are living in survival mode and you don't know what it's like to not live in survival mode. You're just trying to survive. For instance, let me give you an example. If you go to bed every day thinking, gosh darn it, I got to do this again. How many of you guys have felt that way? Gosh darn it, I have to do this again. Right? Like I've been there. Then you're probably living in survival mode, right? Yes. Wait, what? Okay. Right? So if you've ever, I'm trying to read the comments, but then I don't know if people are really here or not, right? Always in survival mode. And I didn't, and the craziest thing about living in survival mode is, is that you really don't even, if you've done it for so long, you really don't even understand that you're actually in survival mode until you're out of survival mode. Does that make sense? So it's just, right? Like what's happening, what's gonna, and that's when we talk about negative self-talk and positive self-talk, and we'll get into my little affirmation part. We're gonna do a couple affirmations here. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. All right, so I like to live in the fact that I get to create whatever I want to create. So there's one thing, I always say, like, I get to create how I want to live in my teens. I get to create how I want to live in my 20s, and I get to create how I live in my 30s, right? So right now I'm 39 years old. And just recently, this past year, I actually took a year off of teaching because I really, because I really needed to find myself and figure out, what am I actually living for and what's my purpose? So I'm going to show you guys how I did that. So we're going to talk about, I'm sorry, I'm trying to read the, comments and follow along what's going on, but I'm not sure what's actually happening. Okay, so we are going to figure out how to live a day in the life of a woman, and how to stay on track. And we're going to do that through affirmations. We're going to do that through scheduling, and we're going to do that through understanding our self-worth. So first of all, we're going to do a little exercise with affirmations, a little exercise with affirmations. So for me, I have like things written on chalkboards. I have things written on my mirrors just to remind me. So it's always really good to remind yourself of an affirmation. But unfortunately, we are used to really going towards our magnets, like we're drawn to negative affirmations versus positive affirmations. And affirmations are just choice of words. They're quotes. They're things that you can live by, right? So I'm going to show you a couple of affirmations that maybe you're familiar with, and maybe you haven't, but are not familiar with. So I'm going to hold it up, and I'm not sure if it's forwards, backwards, what you see on your side. So the first one is, I'm not worthy of anything more. I'm not worthy of anything more. How many times have you guys heard that? Or how many times have you guys told yourself that? I'm not worthy of anything more. So you basically just feel like this is it. I am a supervisor at the mall, or I am a business owner and I own my own business, but I don't have a team because I'm not worth anything more. I only get to be who I am today, right? How many of you guys have heard that? I have a point, so just keep listening. I'm not worthy of anything more. Another thing that women a lot of the time survive themselves is, it's too late to try something new. Have you ever heard of that? Or have you ever had someone tell you that? Sometimes, like, our parents, our sisters, our cousins, our best friends try to tell us it's too late to try something new. Have you guys ever heard of that? I have. I know when I started my coaching business, I had a really close friend of mine say, don't you think you do enough? What do you mean, do I think I do enough? I want to be a life coach so that I can teach other women that you don't have to live in survival mode. I want to be able to talk to other women. right? It doesn't matter how old you are, and that's what we're going to talk about. Is it like, so I want to hear that. Thank you for commenting. So right, that's why I'm holding this one up. It's too late to try something new. It doesn't matter, you guys. I didn't start. So for me, I was a teacher, and I'm still a teacher for 14 years, and that's all I knew. I was like, well, I know how to be a teacher. My mom was a teacher. My dad was a teacher. I know how to do that. And then in my late 30s, I said, no, you know what? I'm going to be a teacher. But I'm sorry. I'm going to be a teacher, but I don't have to be a teacher in the classroom. Before I started preschool, last two people asked me how you were going to do it. Made me doubt myself a lot. Yeah. So I said, I'm not just going to be a teacher here. I'm going to be a teacher, and I'm going to educate women. Does that make sense? So it's like I was told, okay, Mikala, you're going to be this teacher. You're going to be a teacher, and you're going to be in the classroom, be brick and mortar. That's what you know. That's what you do. And I said, no. When my friend told me, don't you think you do enough? I think that pushed me a little harder to say, you know what? I haven't done enough, because if I didn't learn that I was living in survival mode until I was in my late 30s, and I, grew up, in a single parent household where I was a very abusive household to, become the woman that I am today, I'm not the only one with that story. And if I can, in my late 30s, get to create whatever I want to create, it's not too late to try something new, right? I can try anything that I want to try. But that's something that we hear all the time, right? So I'm glad you guys are helping out with that. And then another one is, I've been faking it until I make it. People say that. You don't have to fake it. You get to create whatever you want to create. Every single day, you get to write down goals. You get to write down things. You don't have to fake it. Some people in your mind will tell people, some people in their mind kind of tell themselves, like, I'm just going to go with it until I get it. That's okay. That's not faking it. You actually know what you're doing, right? Another one that people say or hear, and I want you guys to see this, being enough feels like it's not good enough. Being enough feels like it's not good enough. It's never too late, right? Being enough feels like it's not good enough. Being enough feels like it's not gonna. Has anyone ever heard of that or resonates with that? So this is just like I said, an introduction to my affirmation clinic. What I do is we hold up little signs, and we have lots of different ones, and we talk about the most common things that we've heard that we can relate to, or that someone has tried to make us relate to, right? Someone has said, oh, it's too late, or don't you think you've done enough, or oh my gosh, you're already so powerful, or what else is there? Are you trying to get a medal? No, I'm not trying to get a medal. I'm just trying to be happy. So one thing that Susanna, exactly. One thing that I did is I had one of my really good friends write an affirmation about me. So I'm gonna challenge you, right? I like that word, challenge, to call up your friend, call up someone that you talk to, call up someone that knows you, or even ask Julia, people in this community, when you think of me, what do you think about? Sometimes when you're down in the dark, and or you can even post it on your Facebook, but I think just having someone who's really personal with you, when you think of me, what is something that comes to mind? Okay. So, like I said, I do this affirmation workshop, and it's actually a 3-hour workshop. And what we do is we are on Zoom, or I actually have them in person in Riverside, California. And we talk about these different quotes, and we talk about the exact situation when someone said something like that, or when we thought that. What was going on in our life at the time? How am I going to change so that I'm not thinking of that all the time? It's never too late to create whatever you want to create. You can start a business at the age of 50. You can start a business at the age of 70. It's your business. You get to do whatever you want to do, right? You can go back to school at the age of 70. I know I had my godmother, she got her PhD after she had, I think, 5 kids, and she was an administrator, and she went back to school to get her PhD at USC, and she was in her 50s, and she was like, I don't think this is something. I remember her saying, this is not something that I don't know if I can do this. Like, I got a lot to take care of. I have to put all my kids through college, and I got to put myself through college. But I remember her saying, but I get to do this, so I'm going to do this. I'm able to do this. There's nothing wrong with me, so I'm going to do it, right? So sometimes we just have to kind of psych ourselves out, right? So she psyched herself out. That's what I call it. If you're not comfortable with writing the goals and saying you can, sometimes you just have to say, I got this, and you go with it, but it's not faking it, right? It's just being determined, like standing up, standing in your word, standing in your purpose, and saying, I can handle this, and I'm excited about handling this. I'm going to create a goal, and I'm excited about creating the goal. Okay. So, during my affirmation clinic, we talk about that. We get in partners. We talk about what situation did someone say something to us where we were like, we were a magnet to that specific negative affirmation, and how do we turn it into a positive? When someone says something to you, what do you think about? So this is what I want you to do. I want you to ask someone, I want you to ask someone who's really close to you, and it has to be someone who like is one of your really good friends. So I had a really good friend write this down for me, and this is not something that I created for myself, but it's something that I do live by, and I didn't know that I lived by it. Does that make sense? Until she wrote it down, and she said, "This is what I think of you." And I was like, I mean, I seriously, sometimes even when I read it, I get all kind of choked up because I'm like, is that really how you see me? She's like, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm going to read mine. It says, I stand on the truth that I was created with a purpose and have the ability to make a difference. So I stand on the truth that I was created with a purpose and have the ability to make a difference. So no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter where you are in life today, like today, you have a purpose. And the thing about it is that it takes us a really long time sometimes to figure out our purpose. But you have to believe it yourself in order to project it. So I really believe that I was made, like I'm my creator, like I am a teacher. That doesn't mean that I have to be in the classroom, right? Because you always hear the ability to make a difference. A teacher makes a difference. Martin Luther King made a difference. You know, I would think of Joan Rivers for some reason. I don't know why. Made a difference, right? But I have the ability to make a difference, but that doesn't mean, coincidentally, that this is in a house. That doesn't mean that I have to make the difference in the classroom. It was really hard for me. I had to step away for health reasons because I have children that are not well. And so I had to step away from that classroom, and I had to say, wow, like I really don't know what I'm going to do, even though I own my own boutique and I, 6 figures, it was great. All the things. I had to stand on this truth that I was created with a purpose and the ability to make a difference. That doesn't mean that I have to take my master's degree and I have to utilize it every single day. Do I utilize it? Absolutely. Because the experience that I had as I received my master's degree, I use now, right? I'm not gonna put that down and say, stomp on that and say, I didn't need that. I absolutely did need that. When I was going through that, I needed to get through that. But right now, I get to make a difference, but I don't have to make a difference in the classroom. I don't have to make a difference with kids. I've done that. I can still do that, but I've done that. Now I get to make a difference with women. Understanding your purpose as well. Understanding that you get to stand strong. And when you feel like you're not having good days or you're not having strong days, what do we do? Where do we go? Who do we turn to? Right? So I've created a small community, a community of people who want to live great lives. Maybe people who feel confused. I don't, the people say this, when people say things like this, I stand on the truth that was created for a purpose and have the ability to make a difference. Exactly. Imposter syndrome. When I need to stand where I am, and I want everyone to stand where I am as well, right? That's always like a really good thing. So I've created a community within my coaching of people who might be lost, but want to be found. You don't want to wake up every single day anymore saying, gosh, I have to do this again, right? Because that's like not fun. It's just not fun. And then, we also have children that we take care of. How many people in here have kids? You can say me, 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 me. How many people here are single moms? Say me, 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 me. I've been a single mom. I've had kids. I've been single. I've lived by myself. I paid my bills myself. I've stood in line for food at churches. I've done what I've had to do, but I've gotten over all of that because I was able, right, Sabrina? Right. Who else? She's the only one that has kids or been single or been by themselves. Or if you're married and you feel like you're single, that's a whole nother situation too, right? But we get to create whatever we want to create. You get to create whatever you want to create when you want to create it, right? And so my coaching with affirmations has to do with understanding that there is something great about you, and sometimes you don't see it. Like for me, when I first started doing the workshop, I had other people tell me give a positive affirmation that describes me, and that really helped me figure it out. So whenever I'm having a day where I'm just like, that's I don't want to be like, oh, I wake up every day and it's so freaking fantastic, and I go and I what's it called, read, smell the flowers, and I meditate outside and all those different things. No, I look at my affirmations and I read them over and over again. You get up early, you write things down. So I'll teach you that kind of stuff too. So again, you're going to visit www.mikalabrown.com and you're going to schedule a 15-minute call with me if you're interested. But we're not done here. Okay, so now we're going to talk about, so that was daily affirmations. I'm just giving you guys a little bit of the things that I focus on and seeing if it resonates with any of you guys. Okay, so now we're going to talk about scheduling. Scheduling is very, very, very important. Having a goal, a daily goal, a weekly goal, a monthly goal. So a couple things. Yeah. When you think of me, what do you think of? Right? Just ask different people. And then you can even take different ideas and put them together and create your own daily affirmation that you can tell yourself every single day. So it doesn't have to be this is not something that I Googled. This was something that someone created for me. That was one of my best friends that I really, really I'm really close with. So you can take the ideas of 3 different people and put them together and create your own daily affirmation, right? Which is always the best thing that you can say over and over again, that you can start your day with. You can write it on your mirror. You can put it on a Post-it. You can put it in your car. And then the best thing about the way that I like to do it, which is having other people help you create it, is that's what people see in you. Sometimes it's really hard. Like for me, I didn't see my power. I didn't understand I was powerful. People were telling me, "Oh, you're so powerful. You do this," and I'm just like, I'm just over here trying to survive. Like I'm just trying to make sure that I got dinner on the table, that my kids are safe, and that I didn't go to jail today. Like sometimes that was my life. Like that was, and it's serious. And I laugh about it because I laugh, but like I'm being very serious right now, right? It's a crazy world out there, right? And so I challenge you guys. I want you guys to share them with Julia so then she can share them with me. But definitely ask a couple different people, create your own affirmation that you can live by. And when you do it that way, you believe it and other people believe it. And sometimes it's easier for people to tell you how you are. And then that's a really great place to start is, okay, well, if so-and-so, friend A and friend B and friend C say this, right, about me, and I'm thinking, and you can be like, oh my gosh, that is me. That is me. The world does view me like that, right? Because if 2 or 3 people view you like that, I bet you 100 people that you've ever interacted with really believe that too. So we're going to close off affirmations. We're not done. I am here for an hour. And I want you guys, to create an affirmation, and I want you guys to share it with Julia and Christopher, and then they're going to get back to me and tell me that too. Or book a 15-minute call with me and we can do that as well. Like it's so much fun. Okay. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is scheduling. So I've created this way of scheduling because my daughter, yes, let's help each other make them. I think that's so great. So great. So my daughter is 20 years old. Okay, let me give a little bit of background about my daughter, and hopefully I don't cry. But if I cry, it's because I'm a real person and I have real feelings, and maybe I'll connect with someone else. So my daughter's 20 years old. She was the one that I had when I was 18 years old. My daughter is super successful. She lives on the East Coast. She got a full ride volleyball scholarship to a small Catholic school. And she is over there killing life. She is, I always say, when I grow up, I want to be just like her. Have you ever had someone like that in your life? I never thought it'd be my daughter. But when I grow up, what about, oh, that's not a real person. When I grow up, I want to be just like my daughter. And everyone who meets her, like I'm going to say this. Some people said, I had this guy that was in like my life, he was married all this stuff. I was friends with his wife. And he just said, wow, like they didn't have kids. He'd say, I'd give my left nut to have your daughter. Like I want all my kids to be just like your daughter. And I'm like, I don't know how she became so great. And I used to tell myself that I don't know how she became so great. She's exactly who I want to be. So there's a point to the story. I always say that just in case. So my daughter is 20 years old. She was diagnosed with a medical disability at the age of 17. She graduated from high school when she was 17. So she got this full ride volleyball scholarship. Let's rewind back to the 8th grade. 8th grade, she decides to try out for this volleyball team because she was a dancer her whole entire life. And she grew really, really fat, grew really, really tall, really, really fast. Really, really tall, really, really fast. And basically she looked a hot mess when she was dancing. And I don't know if you guys know anything about dancing, but I think I lived at the dance studio, like legit lived there. And I said, I'm not going to live here if she's going to have this, how like boys have an awkward growing stage. She had an awkward growing stage in the age of, when she was in the 7th grade. So I said, okay, we're going to have to pick something different for the 8th grade. And she started getting really, really tall. Her dad is 6'8". And so I was like, she's going to be tall. We're going to have to figure this out. So I said, okay, all I knew at the time, and if I parent a little different now, but I said, okay, you get to choose. Do you want to play basketball or do you want to play volleyball? Keep in mind, she used to play like the sports when she was 2 years old, but she hasn't played she was a dance girl. She's like, that's all I get to choose from. I said, yep, that's all you get to choose from. She didn't want to play basketball. She has this like love-hate relationship with basketball because of her birth father. So she's like, absolutely not. Like legit Sabrina, right? Like live there. Like live there, right? And then like don't talk about competition days, girl, right? Where you literally have your rack and you do makeup, and like I learned how to do makeup by putting makeup on 8-year-olds. Like that was my life, right? Anywho, so she played volleyball. I'm going to be very honest with you guys, and I think the honesty is great. So we walked into this tryout, and it was for club volleyball, and in the area we were the only Black people in there, and my daughter sucked. There were only 2 Black girls there. One was mixed, and she's not mixed. My husband actually is, so my other kids are mixed, but she's not. She's Black. She looks like me, right? So she's playing volleyball. Legit, like I had to stop myself. I was so embarrassed. This is me, like as a young mom. I was so embarrassed that I walked out of the tryout because I said, if they look at that girl, this is so sad. This is so true. If they look at that girl, they know she belongs to me because she's the only Black person here and I'm the only Black person here and she sucks. So I left. I went to Subway. I'll never forget this day. I went to Subway. I went and got a cup of chicken noodle soup. Then I came back to the gym. I don't think I went in the gym. My husband was there, not her birth father. And so he was there watching, and I was like, I have to walk out. I'm very athletic. I basically can play any sport that you teach me. Like I watch it, just like my son, my 5-year-old, I can watch it, blah, 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 all the things, right? So we're in this gym. My daughter sucks. She comes out. So I told her this. I said, look, she gets in the car. They haven't told us anything yet. They have to call you. It was like on a Thursday. They call you on Saturday, whatever. I said, look, okay, so let's just be real. You didn't make the team. She starts crying. She's very sensitive. She starts crying and crying and crying. And I'm like, but why are you crying? I said, if you want to be a great volleyball player, we can get you some privates. Don't worry. You didn't make it this time. Like there was no way. And I said, so then I said to myself, have you ever seen a volleyball game? And she was like, no. I was like, so do you know the idea is to get the ball over the net? She's like, yeah, I figured that like halfway through. I was like, is this really my daughter, right? Is this really my daughter? So basically, I get the call the next day, and they call the parents before they call the students. Like they have their phone number. They call the parents to make sure that you're going to go through with it. It's club volleyball. It's expensive, all the things. So they call me. They're like, yeah, we want to congratulate you that your daughter made the volleyball team. And I said, I think you have the wrong number. You guys, this was my life before. And they were like, no. Like I said, the Black girl, like, are you I'm the mom of the Black girl. Like there's no way she made the team. And she's like, no, like your daughter, like she's super athletic and she's so nice and she's so coachable. Like we want her on the team. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. To come find out, she makes the team, right? This is like going into 8th grade. So going to the 8th grade, she was absolutely horrible. She just kept getting taller and taller and taller. Eventually she learned. So at the end of the 8th grade, after she made it, my husband graduated from UCLA, and he's like, oh, they're having an alumni game, and UCLA's playing Stanford. We should take Kaylee. And I said, oh, okay, we should take Kaylee, because she had never seen a volleyball game. So he took him. My husband was all excited. He's like, yeah, UCLA. He's those people like ride or die UCLA fans if you're alumni, right? So she comes home and she's like, one day I'm going to play Division I volleyball. And I was like drinking my water, and like it was like a commercial, like I spit my water out. And I said, let's just focus on some other things right now. Let's just focus on making sure you get good grades in high school so you can go to a good college, blah, 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 blah. She said, no, like I'm going to go to Division I volleyball. And I said, do you understand what that takes? Like, do you understand what that takes? And she was like, absolutely. I know what that takes. I'm going to practice every day. My daughter graduated from high school with a full ride scholarship for a Division I school. I'm like gonna cry. She figured out at a very young age, you have to work hard to get what you want. I was living in survival mode. I was trying to be a mom. I was trying to be a good wife. I was trying to raise kids. I was trying to do all these things. And I'm over here taking my negativity and I'm pouring it onto a little girl. Like, who am I to do that? My daughter she graduated with high honors from high school. She is in her third year of college, graduating with high honors from a Division I school on the East Coast. She works at the mall, and she just got an internship to work at a hospital on the East Coast, interning this summer. I'm telling you this for a reason. So when I asked my daughter recently, I'm just like, well, how do you stay? I'm like, well, how do you stay so focused? like legit, how are you so focused? It's like, Haley, like you say you want something and you just get it. Like you just go after it. She said, because that's what you do. And I said, that is not what I do. She said, no, Mom, like that's what you did. Every single time you said you wanted to do something, you did it. You said you wanted to buy a house, because she remembers that. She said you said you wanted to buy a house, you did it. You said you wanted to get a master's degree, you got it. You said you wanted to be you wanted to write the California High School exit exam because I didn't feel like it was fit for people who English was their second language and special education kids, and you did it and you did it and you did it. And I was just like, wow, in her eyes, I'm like fantastic person while I'm over here just trying to survive. So she really helped me change my mindset. So she actually taught me her way of scheduling, and it didn't work for me. It just didn't work for me. I don't know how she does it. Yeah, through our kids, right? So have a conversation with your kids, like really have a conversation with kids. So I became the strongest scheduler from learning from her that I cannot work the way that she does. Does that make any sense? It was like trial and error. How do I become a good scheduler? But also not only how do I become a good scheduler, but how do I schedule myself into my schedule? Because that's what she did. She learned that at a young age, she had to make it work for her. So even though she had, my daughter, she speaks 2 different languages. Her first language was Spanish. And so, my question was like, but how do you stay so focused? Like, if you said you wanted to be a volleyball player when you were in the 8th grade. If I was in the 8th grade, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Like, absolutely not. Just like, I'm just trying to go to class. Right? So yeah. So my daughter is a keep schedule. So if you guys have notes or you're taking notes, you have a phone or something. My daughter is a keep scheduler and I am a throwaway scheduler. So what I want you guys to do, take notes on this. I want you to schedule out 30 days. Schedule out 30 days. Don't do it right this second. Some of you can do it right this second. And you're going to really sit down with yourself and you're going to look at things that you absolutely like, that are non-negotiable, that you're going to schedule into your schedule. You're going to look at things that you absolutely have to do. Like you have to take your kid to dance, even if you don't want to, right? If your kid's in dance, you have to take them there. If your kid's in sports, you have to take them there. You have to pick your kids up from school. Like those are all things you have to do. And literally, even though these comments are hilarious. So even though it seems like it's like, I know that I'm going to do that every single day, it doesn't matter. Write it down. So number 1, write down everything. Write down when you get up, write down when you go to sleep. And you can even go back like to a day if it changes a little bit, and you're going to monitor it for 30 days, right? You're going to monitor it for 30 whole days. Okay, so if you are a keep scheduler, so we're going to be either keep or throw away, and you're probably going to find out at the end of this which one you are. My daughter's a keep scheduler. I'm a throwaway scheduler. You are a keep scheduler if you can put your mind to a goal and reach that goal with a little bit of interference, but not a whole bunch of interference. If you're a keep scheduler, as you schedule your week, you're going to sit down like every Sunday and make your schedule. Those are usually keep schedulers. Like they're really, really focused people. You're going to schedule out your schedule for 30 days, but every single week you're going to leave 1 day open. And I'll tell you why. So you're going to always have Monday open, and you're always going to have Monday open, or you're always going to pick Tuesday open or Wednesday. But if you're a keep schedule, you're going to keep 1 day open. If you're a throwaway scheduler, you're going to schedule every single day. You're going to schedule every single day out. Okay, so let's talk about keep schedulers. Keep schedulers are people who are really, really super focused. The reason why you're going to leave one day open is because when you get to the end of the week and you determined everything that you did not do, you're going to go, you have an open day and you're going to reschedule all those things that you didn't do into that day. If you're a throwaway scheduler, you're going to schedule every single day out. And again, we talk about later on, like, what's healthy, what's not healthy, what you should be doing, your me time and all of that. I don't have time for that right now. But if you're throwaway schedule, you're going to schedule your week out, and then you are going to legit tear the piece of paper out of your, you're going to tear the piece of paper out of your schedule and you're going to legit throw it away. Because you're probably like me, to where you're really hard on yourself. It's like it's like having a checklist. How many of you, so like the throwaway schedulers are people who can make a checklist, and say you make a checklist of 5 things in the morning, right? Because you're not a scheduler. You make a checklist of 5 things in the morning and you're just like, okay, I am going to do all these 5 things, but you do 3 out of the 5, which is a really good accomplishment. But then you're so hard on yourself, like you can't go to sleep because you didn't do those last 2 things, but you got to do them tomorrow and you don't know how it's going to work out because you already have your day scheduled and blah, 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 all that. You're a throwaway schedule if you think that way. You have anxiety, you're going to bed and you're just like, oh my gosh, I didn't get to do everything on my list. And tomorrow, now instead of 5, I have 7 things and da, 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 da. That's me. That's how I used to be before I learned how to schedule and before I learned how to schedule myself into my schedule. Okay, so that's me. So if you have feelings like that, if anxiety comes to mind, then you are going to be a throwaway scheduler. If you're like my daughter, you're just like, oh, I didn't get to do all 5 things, so that's okay. I'm just going to move on to the next day. And I'm going to move on to the next day. Oh, that's okay. And then at the end of the week, when she's scheduling, she gets to look at all the things that she didn't schedule, and then she's just going to push them over to Monday, because then she gets to try it again. And then she's going to try to do the 5 things. And then Tuesday, she's going to try to do the 5 things. And then Wednesday, she's going to try to do the 5 things. And then she's going to take those things, and then she's going to, like, you continue pushing them over. That's a keep schedule. It's called keep going. You keep going and you're okay. I'm not that person. I'm a throwaway scheduler. And it doesn't matter your age, right? Like, I mean, she has to juggle working multiple jobs, going to school, doing all those things as well. Like, she's a human being, right? she gets to do all those things too. So if you are a throwaway scheduler, this is like just a little summary of what it's going to look like. I like to have a schedule like this, where you have, one with all the days. That's where you're going to write down the important thing. Those pages don't get thrown away. I'm not talking about throwing away the month to month, because sometimes you can look back at your year and say, oh, wow, I accomplished that. You're going to summarize different things. Sometimes you can schedule ahead on here. What I like to do is I schedule my week to week. As I finish something, I put it on my permanent schedule, right? As I finish it, it's going to go over here. I finished it. Like all my finished things, I'm going to put it over here, right? And then I'm going to follow my week to week like this. And then I'm going to rip them out and I'm going to toss them, but I'm still going to know what I did. Does that make sense? So if you're a throwaway scheduler, you're still going to have September, October, right? 2022. And you're still going to write down. So on the first, I did this, that, and the others. On the first, I was able to have a live sale. I was able to talk to my business coach. I was able to make plans for dinner or create a menu. So everything that I completed, I'm going to write here because I completed it, right? But then you're going to schedule out your week like on a Sunday. Does that make sense? Say you're following me if you're following me. Then when you get to the end of the week, you're not going to revisit it. You're going to rip them out. You're going to throw them away and you're going to start over. Obviously, you can't rip this page out, so you just kind of put a black line through it. I literally sometimes black it out so I can't think of it. And then I turn the next page and I just keep going. And then I revisit it. I have my coffee. I call it my me time on Sunday. And then I get to create a new schedule every single week. And I found that to be, there's a lot more to it. And I found out, yes. So the full schedule is after you've accomplished it. So you're going to get where it has a week schedule and a full schedule. It can be 2 separate things. My daughter has hers on an iPad. Like, I don't even know how she does that. But again, she's a pushover person. So she just like goes to the next page and writes things down. So the full calendar is everything you've accomplished, everything you finished. right? So day to day, you can go back and write it down, or at the end of the week, whatever. Before you throw away your pages, you look and see what you did. You look and see what you highlighted. You look and see what you checked off, and you push it to your full calendar so you can remember what you actually did, right? But week to week, you're going to take those pages that you didn't finish, and instead of thinking about, oh my gosh, I still have this to do and that to do and that to do, you're not going to look at it. So then you're looking at, oh my gosh, I didn't get to do that. You're going to change your mindset to, wow, look at all the things I did. Now let's focus on this week. It's a brand new week, right? They say it's a brand new day. It's a brand new week. We have to move forward, right? You can't dwell on those things because that stresses us out too. That stresses us out. Like it stresses me out. So the first thing is really understanding if you are a throwaway schedule, or that's me, and there's nothing wrong with it, or you're a keep scheduler. And then if you're not a scheduler, you need to write something down or keep track of something, because that's how successful, because if you want to be successful and you want to feel like you're on top of your game, like you need to figure out how to write stuff down and just keep it. Because sometimes I like to go back to my month scheduler, my month schedules, and say, wow, look what I did last month. I feel like I didn't get anything done, but look at all these things that I actually did accomplish. It doesn't help me if I'm looking at a mixture of things I did and that I didn't. So that's when you know you're a throwaway. I don't want to see all the things I didn't do. I want to look at the things that I did do and say, okay, well, this month I did 25 things. Next month, maybe I'll go to 26 or 27. It's not realistic to go from 0 to 500. So if you're like not a scheduling person, the first step is to go buy a scheduling book. Give yourself a high five for that. Think about it, and then you're going to slowly start writing in it. And I have these steps in my program also. So that's how you schedule. And then we're also going to learn how to schedule ourselves into the schedule. A lot of people are having anxiety just thinking about, oh my gosh, I'm going to throw it away. What's going to happen? I don't know. We get to find out. And we get to figure it out together, right? If you're part of my coaching, I have group coaching, I have individual coaching. We get to figure it out together. I get to help you figure out what kind of person you are and what happens when you fall off. So the group coaching is a great idea. We talk about it. Who fell off the wagon? Who didn't? If you stayed on track, what did you accomplish? What are your personal goals? All of that. We get to talk about all of that. But I focus on that as well. I didn't even do the slideshow yet. We didn't even do my slideshow, did we? Okay. And then my last little tidbit that I talk about, and then we'll go back to the slides, I guess. My last tidbit that I talk about is self-worth. Understanding that you're worth whatever it is that you want. Yeah, so it's good. So clearing the things out of your phone calendar is great, but then you also want to make sure that if you're keeping the things that you finished, yes, right? Keep the things you finished and then just delete it out. Some people do it with their phones. I'm like the pen and paper person. I'm a teacher. I seriously still write on the whiteboard. If I had an overhead, if they let me have an overhead, I'd write on an overhead. That's just how I learned, and so it's easier. But yeah, my daughter does it in her iPad. Like they have really fun apps now that are color coded and look like a planner. So she just transfers it over because she's a keep person. She keeps that one day open and then gets to list all the things she didn't do, and then she can start there, clear it out, and then keep going. Right? That's the keep going. But yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, Crystal. Thank you so much for that comment. Okay, so then you can't be successful within yourself in your job. You're right, the colored planners with all the different colored pens and the highlighters, right? Like we're like Lisa Frank all over again. You can't be successful in anything you want to do. You're not going to be able to keep a schedule if you don't understand your self-worth. And now I say that in lots of different places. So in your job, in your relationship. And when I say relationship, I do not mean an intimate relationship. I mean, yes, you can start there. And that's when I'm going to have them show the next picture. I didn't understand my self-worth. I've been married for 8 years, and we were together before that. We actually went to middle school together. He got married, got divorced. I had kids. We met up, and then we have a son together, but as a family, we have 3 kids. And I was so focused on my kids and everything else because that's how I lived. Go to the next one for me. I was so focused. So that's my podcast. And if you go to mikalabrown.com, you can see that too. So yeah, right there. Okay. So December 2019 is me at the top. And I took this other picture, April 2022, yesterday. So there's a huge difference between my husband and I. And this is not a weight loss challenge. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the difference in being miserable and being happy. If you were to ask me 3 years ago, just in general, how my life was, you can see it. You can see it on my face. I was a very thin person before. After my second child, I weighed 140 pounds. I was really, really thin. I was an eater. I didn't know that I was an eater until I met my husband, until a lot of crazy things started happening to me and my kids and all the things. So December 2019, I think that was like right before the shutdown, like maybe the year before the shutdown. And I was living in hell. Like, I really describe it to myself as living in hell. I wasn't happy. I was just living. I was doing jobs I didn't want to do. I didn't understand my self-worth. Once I figured out that I am a great mom, I am a great wife, I am all these things that are great. But then once I learned how to work with my husband, and it wasn't even just my husband, it was just like with people in general. I learned how to stand in my power. I understood my self-worth. I became a whole different kind of person. I've done challenges like 75 hard successfully. I've done challenges like 75 hard and I really sucked, right? I've had to start over multiple times. I've stuck to workout programs. I haven't stuck to workout programs. I'm not where I want to be as far as my weight, but I did find out that once I was happy and once I learned how to become a great leader and once I understood my self-worth, everything just kind of fell into place. Well, this is not a picture to show you like we were fat, now we're thin. Like that's not what I'm trying to show you. I'm trying to show you the difference in December 2019 of a couple being miserable, like literally miserable, to a couple understanding that we can win together. And when I say a couple, that's my story. That's my situation. But then I also think back in December 2019 of where I was in my relationships with the people that I worked with. I probably wasn't the nicest person to work with. I was trying to survive. When I had my baby, he had to have like a skull surgery. I was trying to just make sure that I was still living in survival mode because I didn't know that I didn't have to live in survival anymore. And then once I understood my self-worth, once I learned how to stand in my power, which to me looked like I was a trainer, I was all these things, and then I switched districts, and I didn't really find myself like in a leadership position. That was really hard for me. I didn't know how to shift. I didn't know how to change. And not only at work, but at home as well. So I gained a lot of weight. I was miserable. I think I drank wine every night. Nothing wrong with that. But for me, it was a problem. That's not something I should do. I'm not saying I don't enjoy a glass of wine every now and then. That is not what I'm saying. But I found that I was eating my feelings and drinking my feelings a lot with children, which is not the best thing to do all the time. So then I took my ideas of like, okay, I don't need to eat all this food. We don't need to eat out every day, like at restaurants, get margaritas all the time. I learned to take my energy and shift it to become a powerful person, understand my self-worth, understand that if I know I can be a leader and I know that I'm really good at it. My kids are amazing, right? All of our kids are amazing, right? What do we wish we can be just like them in 2022? It's gotta be hard growing up as a teenager in 2022. But once we actually could find our purpose, and I stood in my power, meaning I know that I'm a leader. I know that people need to hear my story. I know that I'm not the only woman crying in a closet monthly. I know that I'm not the only woman that has cried in my closet. I know I'm not the only woman who, goes back and forth between different sizes and was really depressed about it. I know I'm not the only woman who is in a position at a job where they just hate. And it's not that they hate it because they hate it. It's like they hate it because maybe they don't have relations with other people there. All those different kinds of things made me really wake up and say, is this really what I have to do every day for the rest of my life? Because I'm not about that life. That ain't it. My daughter says, that ain't it, sis. That ain't it, sis. I was in a very dark place in 2019. And just from learning that I have a self-worth in my relationships, between my mother, between my daughters, between my kids, between my husband, between my best friend, between my coworkers. And I'm not here to be everyone's friend, right? I'm here to be a leader, and I'm here to make friends. And now I have a lot more friends than I did before, but that's not my point. My point is I didn't know how to approach people and keep people in my circle because I didn't know how to use my power for good. I came off way too powerful. One of my coaches that I have a life coach, and she always talks about the ways of being, the way you're perceived and the ways of being. And sometimes we take it's like you take it and you like kind of embrace it, and it's not always something good to embrace. I'm going to go over about 5 to 10 minutes if that's okay with you guys. So for me, I was very powerful, but I used to come off as rude, disrespectful. I used to come off as intimidating. And then I learned how to shift my power so that I'm more welcoming. I'm a better listener. I guess I still work on all these things every single day, right? I'm a better listener. And I get to create whatever I want to create. And then once I figured out that I can be strong and my husband can be strong, or pick whatever relationship you want to talk about, between you and your mother, between you and your daughter, between you and your spouse, between you and your sibling, right? You can be strong, and you can be strong and they can be strong, but you can be strong together, right? You don't have to insult other people. You don't have to put them down. If you ever feel that way, I learned that it's okay to take a break sometimes. It's okay to say, you know what, right now, like, that ain't it. I need to figure out me, and I'm having a hard time figuring out me when I always feel like I'm being lectured to, whether it's my mom or my sister or my dog or my child or my husband. You really have to learn how to understand your self-worth so that you can project and use your power the way that it was intended to be. Because nobody is put on this earth to be a bully. Nobody should be mean, nobody should be rude, and no one should be disrespectful to you. And if you've ever been called those things, maybe it's because you don't know. You don't know how to take your power, and you don't know how to place it in the places that it needs to be, so you can get your word across, and you can get your word across in a strong way, but a respectful way. That's one thing that I do live by is it's okay to be powerful. It's okay to be strong. It's okay to not even know where you are. It's okay to feel like you're timid, right? All those things are okay. Because some of it's just you. But we have to learn how to project ourselves in a respectful manner. And it goes both ways. Like my 13-year-old is she's timid. And I teach her, like, it's okay to be timid, sweetheart. But you have to understand that being a follower is not a good thing because you're timid, right? Wanting to be like other people is not a good thing because you're timid, right? Okay. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for joining. Okay, so that's it. Okay, next slide. So again, my name is Mikala Brown. I live in Southern California, and I'm a life coach, and I focus on affirmations, scheduling, and self-worth. I change it up, but right now that's my biggest focus because I found I ask my clients and ask my customers and ask women, and that's what they like to focus on is the affirmations, changing them from negative to positive, the scheduling yourself in your schedule, and understanding your self-worth so you can be the best you and you can accomplish whatever you'd like to accomplish. Awesome. And then the next one, is there another slide or that was it? I think that was it. Okay, so I'm having a retreat, and it's called the Women Rise Up Retreat, and it's in June 2022. And I would like to invite you guys to book a 15-minute call with me. You're going to go to www.mikalabrown.com, and you're going to book a 15-minute call with me to see if it works for you. I have women signed up that are age 27 all the way to women that I think my oldest one is 70. So you don't have to be a certain age to do it. You just have to be a woman. And we're going to basically learn how to stand in our purpose. We're going to have different clinics that are like 3 hours long. It is a retreat where you spend the night. I have a chef coming. I have a personal chef, and he's going to be there. And we get to practice all these things. So we get to practice the affirmations. We get to practice scheduling inside a schedule, and we get to practice our self-worth around a group of other women who are always interested in that as well. So yes, his food is amazing. His food is amazing. It's kind of like a pampered retreat where you get pampered and all these different things. And it's in Southern California, and it's in a mansion that I rented for a couple days, and it's so good. Yes. So that's for a 15-minute call through that. And then I'm also having in May, that's next week, May 5th, which is next Thursday, I'm having a free coaching session for an hour. And it's going to be very, very exciting. And it's going to be open to the first 50 people. So I did this training today. I was a guest here for Julia and Christopher. And I'm going to do another one for another group of women. And then I have my own group that I'm going to do as well. But you guys are so good. You guys get first dibs on it. So basically, it's a Facebook invite. You don't have to be on Facebook because it's actually going to be a Zoom call. Within that Facebook invite, you're going to see, I'm going to post it tomorrow. The Facebook invite's already created, so go in there. Julia has a link. So if you want to ask her if for some reason you can't find it, or you can book a 15-minute call with me and I can get you all squared away with that. You do have to sign in, and then there's going to be a Google link that you click on. And then the Google link you have to put in your email and your name so that when I have the Zoom call, I know my assistant will know who to let in the room and who not to let in the room, because it is at 50 people max. It's going to be in Zoom at 50 people max. Okay. So if you guys have any questions, I can stay here for a couple questions. If not, I hope you guys, I had a great time being here. Thank you so much. It was very entertaining getting to watch all the crazy comments, but also the great comments as well. So, yeah, so it's going to be so great. So the 1 hour it's like a coaching session. The 1 hour free coaching session is going to be next week on May 5th. And then if you wanted to schedule a 15-minute call for me to find out more about my coaching or more about my retreat or anything like that, you can do that as well. So that's it.
Awesome. Thank you for, putting up with that. That's the worst we've ever had. So thank you for just combating. Christopher and I were sitting here deleting and blocking people. So you're awesome. Just, yeah.
That was, I'd never had that many either. So I was trying to figure out who was actually commenting and who I was supposed to respond to.
I know. So if you guys, I know Amanda just jumped on. If you guys missed it, we had some, we get those visitors and they weren't the foreign name guys, all of them. We always get foreign name guys and they're not usually that rude and crass. Like they're just really like, clothes. How can I buy clothes? Or change your shirt or something. These were just not very nice at all. So, and it looks like some of them were posing as LuLaRoe retailers because their names had LuLaRoe in it. So it's all good. It's all good. Really, I really hope that they listen to what you say because they are the people that, we all can use this, but they could really use it, right?
Yes, just be nice. Don't be a bully.
Well, good to see you guys next Thursday. It's the week after. It's not this Thursday, right? Not in a couple of days. Next week. Okay.
Yeah. Thursday, May 5th.
So amazing. And I'm not seeing who is saying I really enjoyed this because I'm so glad you did. I'm just not, you're showing up as Facebook user. So I can't see, but I'm glad that you are here. And I hope that I get to see some of you guys in the workshop in a couple of weeks. Make sure you click or just go to mikalabrown.com and then you can get all the info you need because the link that I tapped on the live says the link is broken. Oh, it's Amber. Hello. Well, those of you that were live in the group, you guys missed all the fun comments because they only show up for the people that were on the page. So I know, Sabrina, isn't it amazing? So schedule a call with Mikala just to kind of chat and find out,
absolutely,
what it's all about. And just like, how I feel like for me, Christopher and I know you guys know we've done masterminds before. We always love to come and share with you because we learn so much as we are developing ourselves. And so, just take advantage of that opportunity. And I'm like ready I need to get a new planner. And I love that, that the differentiation between a keeper or a throwawayer, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I'm the kind of person that I can't schedule a whole month out. I could never do that. That overwhelms me because my life changes like every day. And absolutely. You all know because I'm sometimes in the middle of the day changing my banner with like the plan. I'm like, oh nope, we're gonna shift. We're gonna change some things here. So, anyways, thank you guys, everybody, so much for joining. If you are watching the replay, you can still check out the links. Just 1 minute. We're signing off. You want to say bye?
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Kayla.
Yeah, that's
hi.
That's Raymond's mom.
How are you? Looks like you went swimming.
He went swimming and then had a bath, and he's in. So getting some dinner, and Wait for our Karens to come, you guys. Sorry for the delay. Our Karens are really pretty outfits. So I'm all about the pivot, right? Okay, Mikala, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you, and
Absolutely.
I loved it. I really, yeah. I mean, even the affirmations at the beginning, I think we're gonna do that, you guys. Like, let's help each other out. Let's if you feel like you need a little help, I'm going to do a post and you guys comment on there. What do you think of when you think of me? Because many of us, we don't really know each other, but we know each other through social media and we can see. But we've also, private messaged each other. I know a lot of you guys do, and you've kind of maintained and grown your relationship that way. And so you do know each other. So let's help each other out. I think that's
And I would love to hear. I'd love to hear some of the affirmations you guys get to create together, and on your own. It's so great. It feels so good, especially when other people tell you things. You're like, oh, is that really what you think of me? Like, okay, and then you gotta live by it. You know what I mean? And you're already living by it. But that I can't wait. So if you guys want to share those with Julia, and then Julia will share, and Christopher, and they will share them with me.
And
I love that.
I'm gonna do another shameless plug really quickly for your, oh gosh, where is it? Here. For her podcast as well, you guys. Go check out her podcast. It's really amazing. So
it's great. You guys, I think a lot of people can relate to a lot of the people that I have on my podcast. So go over there and check that out and subscribe there. It's fun.
Awesome. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up, but love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow. I promise. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Thank you guys so much. Looking forward to talking to you.